Hi, and this is Fritz from the NBA Economy Show. Uh, Coming back again. If you're a Knicks fan, the offseason has begun. Uh, this year, it seems like the fans are even more intense than usual, always wanting change, always wanting the next best thing, always wanting to assign blame. Um, we see that a lot of people gave JB a lot of blame for the last series. Also, Karl Anthony Towns. Um, Everybody's wondering what is next for the Knicks from coaching. Um, what is the status of the current players? Or status of uh, Mikal Bridges, who's thinking about an extension? Do the Knicks have any plan to make it to the next level? Um, this past February at the deadline, the Knicks kept Mitchell Robinson. Is he in the plans for next year? He's one of their few very valuable assets, and we see that he raised his profile um, late in the playoffs to show that with offensive rebounds, even after injury, we haven't seen much of a fall off. Um, but one rumor that from February, uh, there was rumors. Scoop B, who I trust, and we've had him on the Nick of Time show, had said the Knicks had a measure of interest, and a few times he reiterated, like he says he didn't know why they were talking, but he just know it was a thing. Um, that didn't come to fruition. We saw it was real that the Suns were shopping KD at the deadline. They even had a deal in place with Golden State that basically uh, KD put an end to. So we're a few months later. Phoenix didn't make the playoffs, but KD was highly upset. They were even shopping him at that point, and it looks like he is out. Um, Recent rumors, as soon as today, say that uh, Phoenix has lowered their asking price from what it was before. So could the Knicks be in the mix with a lower asking price? I, I, most of the the sources, all these articles, there's no one who's giving inside information. A lot of times, what you'll see on these sites are people saying, "This is what the Knicks could do. This is what the Knicks should do," but this isn't the Knicks. The Knicks are talking about it. Um, but yesterday on Twitter, certain people on Twitter were saying, "Hey, there's something down the pipe." Didn't specifically mention KD, but saying things are happening behind the scenes. Um, I don't think the Knicks can make any determination for next year for trades until they make a determination about the coach. So based on who the coach is who you want your personnel to be. So uh, you're not going to get someone who you don't think is going to mesh with the coach. Um, I think Kevin Durant, 36 years old, he is still um, an elite player. 36 years old is old in the NBA. But at the same time, the NBA isn't what it used to be, where you got young players and you drafted a guy and he was 20 years old and he stayed with you until he was 30, until he retired. That's no longer happening. A few years ago, I would say, hey, you got to look at these NBA teams 4 years, the 4 year chunks, and say, hey, what are we going to do for the next 4 years with this player? I don't even think it is like that now. It's like, what can I do with this person now? What is their salary? We have a lot of it's economics, a lot of economics going on in the NBA that you're trading players, you're keeping players, not for what they're doing on the court, uh, but for what the bank balance is. And that's the sad state of the NBA. I know there's a lot of people like Freezy that doesn't like that portion, but that's how the NBA is now. It's like it's a big financial game. Um, I like to shout out whoever's in the chat. Yeah, just give us a like, share. Um, so I just wanted to start with the rumors. So I hate to call them rumors, but a lot of people are pointing to this Yahoo trade, and so this Yahoo article was is just kind of like a puff piece. It's no inside information. Don't say, Fritz told you that this is happening behind the scenes. This is what they think the value of Kevin Durant is to the Knicks. Okay, let's break this down. They have this KD trade with us sending out Karl Anthony Towns, first round swap in 2030, Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, and sending out the conditional pick to the Wizards. Okay, so that's a lot going out from the Knicks. And we'll come back Kevin Durant for Sean Holmes. Okay, so let's just look at where the Knicks are now. We know that the Knicks just ended their series, and the problem people pointed out in the series, they said that the Knicks didn't use the bench wasn't deep enough, and this iteration, this trade from Yahoo Sports, they're supposed to be the experts, has the Knicks giving away two starters and basically their sixth man to get back one starter and maybe a solid, I wouldn't call him the starting center, a serviceable center. So that doesn't really move the needle for me. Um, we see Phoenix where they're at. Phoenix is in a bad financial situation. They're over 20 million over the second apron. So um, the penalties are getting steep. They're going to be paying huge tax penalties. They're going to start freezing draft picks. So this is one of their prized possessions. We know that they really love um, Devin Booker. They want to keep him on the roster. He's the one guy like untouchable on the team. Let's kind of look at this roster. So we're gonna just go to jump to Fanspo, and we see that Kevin Durant is top on salary, but he has a 1 year deal. So what does that mean? He's 36 years old, so there are some special rules that come into play when you're 36 years old. The NBA stops allowing you to sign these long contracts. So you can't sell. You're 36 year old. They won't allow you to sign a 4 year contract because they're worried about teams trying to circumvent the CBA and basically say, hey, we'll give you 4 years for less money, and then you only play two. You know, we'll give you that money while you're not playing on the back end. They don't want that to happen. So you can only sign 1 year or 2 year extension. Last deadline, the Suns really wanted him to sign a 1 year extension because he had one season ahead of him. They said, "Hey, let's give you another year for 60 million." He declined, and a lot of this mess was around the time that they were shopping him. So this summer, Kevin Durant can sign a 2 year, $120 million contract. That's 60 million a year. Guess what he wants? If he's traded, the first thing he wants is that extension. I guarantee it. Like the team that he gets traded to will be signing him to that 2 year, 120 the minute. You might get it announced 30 minutes after the trade, but he will definitely get that 120. So you're not just trading for Kevin Durant for 1 year at 54.7. You're really picking up 3 years of Kevin Durant while he's 36 now and paying him potentially till he's 39. So what would you trade for that? So for the Knicks, in the trade that we just saw from Yahoo, they say that we would give up Carl Towns, who makes just under what Kevin Durant makes. Okay, so do we see any potential problems here? Okay, they're in the second apron. We're in the first apron. We can't take back more money. They can't take back more money. So that's why they had a third team. So Carl Towns, I'm sorry, to the Suns, Deuce McBride, the Wizards, and we're giving that protected first to the Suns. I don't want anything. Not only that, they want us to give our a second starter in Josh Hart. Let's see how that was worded. Okay, so Josh Hart would go to the Wizards. Rashawn Holmes would come to the Knicks. Okay, so now we're gonna take a look at it. I don't like the way this looks. So you're getting three. They're basically getting 3 years of Karl-Anthony Towns. Kevin Durant is gonna force them to get 3 years of Kevin Durant all the way till he's 39. You got Rashawn Holmes, averaged 3 points last year, makes more than Mitchell Robinson. Doesn't look good to me. We're giving up Josh Hart. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Josh, very unique, best rebounder in the game, great energy, just stuff you can't put on the stat sheet." So ignore the stats. But you're giving up Deuce McBride, who's been serviceable. He did take the leap this year, but he's our best bench piece. This trade makes no sense. This this trade makes no sense for us. Um, so I really don't think Yahoo Sports. Sorry, I reject this trade. So what do I think about? I don't think Kevin Durant is the person for us. I think if the Knicks are talking about Kevin Durant, I would probably think that there's more going on. So when I mean more going on, that I think more than if the Knicks went after Kevin Durant to be a Knick, somebody else is coming, not just Kevin Durant. So it could be Kevin Durant and Kyrie, or Kevin Durant in Giannis in some way. But when you're talking about like oh, Kevin Durant, yes, that'd be awesome. But you're talking about totally upending the team, not players that you just not just Cat. We're talking like Jalen Brunson. We're talking any name on the roster. We're talking about totally upending this team. Let's forget let's forget Villanova. We're talking about the team would be unrecognized. So if the Knicks are talking to Kevin Durant, they're probably talking more players. Uh, probably talking about some kind of team up on the Knicks. We're not talking. We're not just talking about Kevin Durant. There's no way you take a Kevin Durant at that age and pay him for that long, and it's just him. I do think Kevin Durant could be a tool for us, though. I think getting in on on a on a trade would be nice. And I had a couple of examples. Actually, one I put up yesterday, and I'm going to show you that. And this was a trade idea. I've been like putting out trade ideas. Not that I think any of these are going to happen. It is putting out ideas for people to think. There's a million and one combinations for different players. You don't have to put one team in the chat, one team in a trade machine, and then another team. There's so many ways to get things done. So this is my trade idea 003, and this was Kevin Durant, who's been a target of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and sending Kevin Durant to the Timberwolves, but helping them out. So to help them out, Minnesota would get Kevin Durant, Miles McBride, and the 50th pick. We have the 50th pick, so we would send it there. And Timberwolves would send out Julius Randle to the Suns. Josh Hart would go to the Suns. Ariel Haporti, I know a lot of you would say, but something that needs to happen for this to happen. You can't actually pull him out of this trade, and the whole trade actually falls apart financially. Um, and for this to happen, Randall would need to opt in for the next season. And just how a couple of years ago, remember Josh Hart opted into his contract, and then a month later he signed another contract. It's kind of like the same deal. Okay, the Wizards, the Wizards, um, kind of we're kind of using their pick. Uh, we're kind of trying to help ourselves get another rotation piece, but unconventional. If we can get someone in the middle of the draft that we can think could be a rotation piece, I think this could work. What would the Knicks get? Jaden McDaniels from the Timberwolves makes about 25 million. Um, we would get the 18th pick, and we would get the 14th, 40th pick. What would I select with the 18th pick? I'm going for another wing. Um, I I think Carter Carter Bryant would be my favorite, but it looks like Carter Bryant is going to go higher. So it doesn't look like Carter Bryant will be around at 18. So I would say Will Riley. So Will Riley is a scorer, um, like a 6'8" wing. Um, and before it, Cam Jones. Cam Jones is probably the one guy in the draft in the second round I really, really want. He actually played with Kolek in Kolek's last year at Marquette. Kind of, I would say his game kind of reminds me of Victor Oladipo. But Jaden McDaniels, as I have in here, could start. So where we usually have Josh at shooting guard, but he really plays like a power forward, you have Jaden McDaniels, who at 6'9" is very versatile. So him and OG Anunoby kind of duplicate each other and can switch spots. It's kind of interchangeable. And you would still have Jalen Brunson. You would still have Mikal Bridges. The bench would be depleted because you gave up Miles McBride, but you would still have Mitchell Robinson, Kolek, Dottier. You would sign McCullough to his first NBA contract. Um, you would draft your two players, and hopefully, and the key to this is that Leon would really need to be working behind the scenes on the free agency. Like this is the 1 year the Knicks need to hit a home run in free agency, and not only just a home run, just get a good player for nothing, which is going to be tough. So convincing a good veteran player who's probably older, could you come for the minimum? Could you come for barely above the minimum? Could we get two guys that way? Um, so if we can lock up two guys, we might be able to be okay. The two assets I really don't want to trade are swaps. So we have um, in any trade, any everybody talks about trading picks. That 2026 Washington pick is conditional. So the way it looks like most likely, unless there's some kind of surprise, it's going to turn into 2 seconds. So if you're shopping this around, people aren't going to look at it like it's a first round pick. They're going to say, hey, that's 2 second round picks, and I have to wait for it. It's not given to me right now. I'll have to wait for them. Um, but there's also two swaps available. So the Knicks have their own pick in 2026. In 2030, they have their own pick, and you can trade a swap. So if another team has a lower pick and the Knicks have a higher pick, they can take it for us. The problem is the Knicks are good. So the only team that would even want to swap is another team that is as good as us. So you're not going to convince a team like Charlotte, hey, you want to swap? Because it won't swap. Like it's nothing to them. So those won't go very far. But we need to hold on to those. Those are break in case of emergency. There's a trade we need to make to win a championship at the deadline, and we just don't have anything. That's when you start pulling all those type of stops. Um, yeah, thank you everyone in the chat. Please hit that like button. So when it comes down to it, what are these rumors for KD? They aren't even rumors. They're just writers looking for something to write about. They're people who are seeing that KD is going to be traded. They don't know where, but they know KD likes New York. KD in the last few months have kind of like clawed back on his antagonizing the New York Knicks. Stop hating on us, and basically said, go on and say, hey, my family loves New York, my agent loves New York, and gives us all the stories and talks about how good the Knicks are. So he's kind of he's acting like he didn't burn the bridge. So I'm I wouldn't be surprised that he would want to be here. He has businesses out of New York. He did want to leave Brooklyn, but Brooklyn was just a mess. I think he would love to come here, but it would have to be the right deal. Um, would I do I think Dolan would trade? Dolan would allow us to trade for KD. I think the the result would have to be so overwhelming that he knows that we would be the favorite for the championship, and that's not going to be any singular trade from the Knicks. I think that's only if KD brings someone major along with him. It has to be a tag team. So I would keep an eye for that. I think the Suns want to do something sooner than later. They want to go into the draft um, with something significant. I'm talking about trying to get the 10th pick back. I think they want to do a deal now. They don't want to end up in free agency and have to compete. I think they want to hit hit it with irons hot while there aren't deals going on. I think they want to pull the trigger. So I really think KD could be moved. He could definitely be moved in the next few weeks. So that's what I had. Let me just run down the chat. We have 10 people in the chat. Please hit the like button. Um, Mikkel P says Tibbs wouldn't want to move hard. Yeah, Tibbs is still here, and I'm gonna have me and Nickinator. We're gonna have a conversation hopefully tomorrow with you guys. Um, when can teams start trading? Well, technically they can start trading now. Like uh, if as long as you're out of the playoffs, you can trade. I think 2 years ago we had a trade that went on during the finals. The NBA doesn't like it, but it can happen. Um, but for everyone, as soon as the finals is over, everybody can trade. Um, we had some free talk. Coach Yard, thanks for always being there, always being supportive. Thank you. Still Nick fans, always, always nice to have you. So that's what I have for now. If there's any subject you want me to cover, we're gonna keep being live throughout the week. Hopefully for the summer, for when I have open time to do it. So just leave in the comments any subjects you would like to cover, and we'll try to cover it. Look tomorrow. We're gonna have a live with Nickinator, and I'll put I'll make sure I put that out in advance so you know what's coming on. So yeah, so tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about what free agents is out there. But please share if you can. And thanks for joining me, and thanks for joining the NBA Economy Show.